All right, so thank you for chiming in for a second here with Brave Daily. This is Jason Bruckner, and I'm going to be talking with author Chris Hearn about his new resource, his new book. First, we'll get in and talk about him and who he is, and then we'll jump over to the resource. So thanks for joining me, Chris.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate it.
Of course. It'll be pretty short and sweet today. Just want to learn about it and then try to spread the word about the resource. So first off, who are you? What do you do? You just told me you had a busy week.
A very busy weekend. Right.
So,
I pastor
so
a church in northern Maine. First Baptist Church of New Sweden in far northern Maine.
Up in northern Maine. So I noticed on your Amazon, even down in the product description, you said when you want to talk about the book, you can pour a cup of coffee or tea, and that's kind of unique because we don't drink a lot of tea over in Ohio, and I bet you drink a lot of tea, right?
So some tea, a little bit. Well, my wife is Russian, and so with Russian tea or chai, well, that's like all the time. So since she met me many years ago, I got her more over to coffee. But either way, everybody to be comfortable, enjoy the book, and I actually the tea and coffee part because to go along with the book's conversational style, which I purposely, of course, wrote in that way, not to be heavy theological treatise or something like that, but to just come across kind of like you and I are, just having a conversation about God and looking into various questions, hopefully the common questions that people have concerning God and Jesus and life after death.
Mm-hmm. Right. You just mentioned your wife being Russian, and I think from what I've seen and what I've read, you have a background that's got a few different stories in it. And were you in Russia for a little while? And did I see that you also have a master's degree? Can you say something to that?
Sure. Going back a touch earlier than that, when I was in college, I earned a bachelor's in journalism, mainly photography, but got some writing in there a little bit as well. And then after I graduated, I did missionary work in Russia for many years throughout the 90s. And that's where I met my wife. We actually got married in Russia in 97. And then after that, we did some work in St. Petersburg and in the far east of Russia with Operation Mobilization. So spent a lot of time in that part of my life doing missionary work in Russia. And then in between, actually, in between all those goings to Russia, I went to seminary at Bethel Theological Seminary in San Diego, and that's where I earned my MDiv, or Master's of Divinity. And then for the last 6 years, we've been here in New Sweden. This is my first church, been pastoring a church.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
Just over 6 years.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So what's the name of your book? And in a nutshell, why did you write it?
It's called Let's Meet God is the main title. And in a nutshell, I wrote it, it was something in me, I think, that just really needed to get out. I wanted to have a resource for people, a short resource, but not unintellectual, something that was short, really to the point, hitting these main questions people have about God, but not take forever. It's less than 100 pages. Again, the conversational style, and is a resource for people. We really wrote it for three main groups of people. One group is for people who don't know the Lord, non-Christians, but they're seriously interested. What is Christianity really about? I want some real answers. I'm really searching. And so for them is a good resource they could take and at least get a lot of the basics. Another is for kind of people who have become Christians, but they're still very new to the faith. And so it talks about the basics of how does one get to heaven? Why did Jesus have to be God? Why did Jesus have to die and raise from the dead? Maybe something that people, of course, believe as Christians, but they may not really know the whole whys about what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why I wrote the book. And those are really the two main audiences, but really a third is for Christians who maybe been Christians for decades, can take it and use it as, for lack of a better term, an evangelistic tool. For an unbelieving friend, coworker, relative, they can give them this book, or they can even read through the book with them and help them through it. So I think for all three groups of people, really, can fit very well.
Right, for sure.
Mhm.
And then one other question I had was, you had mentioned some friends of yours that have picked up the book and have actually said some pretty cool things about it. One friend, local, who's not a friend, now an acquaintance, just because she's picked up the book through Amazon, but someone else international, and that was a pretty cool story. Do you mind sharing that for a second?
Right, sure. Well, just recently I checked over on the book on Amazon and noticed I got my first review, and praise the Lord, it's 5 stars. So that was really cool to see. And then I sent the book off to someone who I believe lives in India, and she has a book review site. That's what she does. So I sent it off to her, and she wrote this 5-star glowing review. So I'm real thankful for that. And in the review, the way she was writing, the way she wrote the review, it seems to me that she's not a believer. Not trying to judge her or anything, but just from the words she was using and stuff, it seemed like she's not a believer. And even she, thought it was a great book. So praise the Lord for that. I think that was really cool. And again, trying to get the message out to people who don't know the Lord or maybe know the Lord, and just the whys behind the whats that they know.
Right, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll keep it short and sweet. I'm going to leave a link alongside this video. I want you to check out the book if you have a moment. Any closing words from you, Chris?
Yeah, just go. You can try to find it on Amazon, of course. Do a search, Let's Meet God, Christopher Hearn, or you can simply go to letsmeetgod.com. You have the link right there at the website. So it's letsmeetgod.com, and there's some brief little synopsis about the book, and just encourage you to pick up a copy. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, sweet. Thanks for joining me today, and thanks for listening in also. Chris, thanks for talking.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jason. Take care.
You too.